This is titanium buff, burnt umber, and ultramarine violet. And I'm using kind of a medium-sized brush. And I'm just going to go in different directions just to get some movement or, you know, some kind of a pattern in there or texture.
Lack of a pattern.
Texture. Let's say texture. Okay. That's good. That's perfect. We don't need more than that. Go back and forth between ultramarine violet and titanium buff and burnt umber and titanium buff, or just pick up the color, any color, and just go over. You know, it's nice to see those colors. You know, it's nice to see some titanium buff, so some ultramarine violet sometimes in certain areas. So you don't want the whole thing to look exactly the same. Just play around with your colors back and forth. So in certain areas you will see a bit of burnt umber. Other areas you'll see a bit more titanium buff. Titanium buff is usually used. I use it for highlights if I want to highlight the area here, or you know, when you use a titanium buff or any white or titanium buff, you will get you will see the brush stroke there. So once this is done, and you know, if you go over the oh, what is it called, sidewalk, if you go over a bit, if your brush stroke goes over a line, if you have a line here and the brush stroke goes over it, that's okay. It's nice. And sometimes I do it on purpose. I will do this, you know, I'll get my brush and then go like that, just to soften, so you don't see a line that's going all the way, one line. It's harsh sometimes. So you soften this by adding a couple of brush strokes, just to make sure that it doesn't really have to be 100% line going all the way. Okay, so now I have this base. So what I want to do is put a suggestion of cobblestones. So I'm going to take my brown brush, let's say take ultramarine violet with a bit of burnt umber, and I'm going to try to see if I can see it. Yeah. If by the time I'm done, this is too strong, I can glaze it. You know those lines I put at first when I sent you the copy of this one here. I had some lines drawn. Could you see them? Yeah, these were just guidelines. I'm not supposed to follow them exactly, but that will give me mentally, I can tell, okay, so this is how it's going, you know, this is how my brush stroke should be going. And then I can move on. usually, personally, I don't put these lines. I usually go by just painting, and then I watch. If it looks okay to me, I leave it. If it doesn't and it needs adjustment, I adjust. But I usually don't put lines, because what happens is when you put really like those lines, you put them there and you follow them, they're too harsh. It's too much. You either have to be working with, thinking that you are working with realism, where you put every single one of those, or suggestion. And for this, personally, I think it should be a suggestion. Because all of this is a detail right here, not here.
I love that you switched out the cobblestones.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did the base, and then I switched to cobblestones, and then I can adjust after. What I do is I go in between and I adjust. I'll show you in a minute. It takes time, but by the time I'm done, it should look okay. The closer I get to where I am, the larger those. I could go a bit wider. But I'm still thinking this way. Lines are there. In my mind, in my head, the lines are there. I'm following those. I'm trying to follow the lines. That's why when I'm done, I can adjust and see if if it's working or not. When we paint trees and branches, you know how I say, I don't paint the branch. I don't put the branch first and then I put the leaves. I usually put the leaves and then the branch after. Because what happens when you put the branch is you follow the branch and you put your leaves around it, and it doesn't look real. It doesn't look right. This is the same idea.
Are you lining them up like in rows or random?
No, random. No, not in rows at all. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. If you put it in rows, then you are going to follow. You're going to have lines, and you have to follow those, and you have to be really, really detailed to do that. But if you put them like random and you put them as soft and just there, it's better.
Well, it's really evident when you look at the two images that you sent yesterday. One with a completely regular grid, and then the other one where it's more organic.
Yes. Trying to make sure that the ones in the back are smaller, kind of. And then when I get to the front, I make them wider. I really don't want to make too many of those, because it becomes so, they take over. That's the thing with those. Anything that's like in rows, they take over. And they look really strong, too much.
Looks for gray and what?
Oh, yeah, yours is quite brown.
Hmm?
Yours is quite brown. Maybe add more.
Sometimes I take ultramarine violet. Sometimes I pick pick up some burnt umber. I like to put dots here and there in between, like little ones. So I did once a door and a pathway to that door using, making the cobblestones look really kind of very detailed. But that was a path that's taking me to the door. So my eye, the whole door and the path were the focal point. So
Well,
I
I remember that painting.
yeah.
Pub? Is it the pub? No.
Hmm?
Is that the pub? No.
No. That was another one. It was like a Spanish looking door, but it was the focal point. So I could do that. Like I should be. This is what you want to do. If you are leading the eye to the focal point. If this was like this door, and that's what we're seeing, and we want to lead the eye to this door, all of this should be done in the same way, same detail. So, but here, this is just, not important. It's there, but it's not a focal point, and it doesn't lead your eye to the door or to anything. It doesn't lead the eye to anything. I'm just darkening this a bit over here. And you'll see in a minute, I'm going to go back and soften some of these. Okay. This is like a glaze right now. This burnt umber, I'm just using burnt umber. It's more like a glaze.
Creating lines?
Yes, very soft. Soft lines. Don't take them all the way down, just kind of a suggestion.
Why are we doing lines?
It just anchors, to anchor these cobblestones, because they're floating right now, okay? Just to anchor them a bit, to give them more of an interesting shape. But you don't want to define them. They're there, but they're not defined. Not all of them, at least. Now, in a minute, you're going to see gonna change all this. I'm gonna add more. Okay. Go back to the wider brush. Pick up some burnt umber and titanium buff. Wipe my brush. Because it was becoming a bit busy. So that's, I'm softening now. I'm just I'm creating some breaks in between. It's like this guy with the, what's his name? Who does portraits. Astero.
Mhm.
He takes a brush at the end and he goes over it.
And he messes it up.
Yeah. He's so good. He's so good.
I think it takes a lot of confidence to do that.
Oh my God, yeah. He knows exactly. Like he puts the brush stroke or the roller over and then that's it. Done. He's good.
I was telling somebody that I had to go back and make some change to a painting, and she goes, "Oh, but what if you wreck it?" And I said, "Well, if paint, I'll just paint over it again."
Exactly. That's exactly it.
But it's easier said than done. Isn't it?
Yes, but but you have to try it. That's the only way to learn. You have to do it. Because if we're scared to wreck it, then we're not going to learn.
The expression might be, you got to get back on that horse.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, don't stay off the horse, get back on it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it gets too sticky, then you can gesso it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if the horse keeps throwing you, shoot it.
Gotta ride that saddle. Back in the saddle.
This is a round brush.
I hear a song coming up.
A song?
That's my Cynthia.
It would be me, yeah. There's a song for every expression, in my opinion. Yeah,
Just about, you're right.
yeah.
It just turns out half of them are country and western.
Well, probably they are, yeah.
They're hurting, cheating, and crying music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Leo, are you able to see where you are? Are you able to see the cobblestones? Because it looks like you just brushed all of them.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't know if it's the light.
Yeah, just.
What do you mean?
I can't see
Cobblestones have
cobblestone.
disappeared.
Yeah, I made it disappear in certain areas. Yes. I made it disappear. I just went over it. I softened it because I really don't want to see it.
You keep doing that to us, Lyle. We spent all this time painting something and you go in with a roller and then
No. I went over it to soften it. Honestly, I just want a suggestion. I don't want to see a cobblestone, like real cobblestone. I want to work here. That's just secondary. It doesn't bother me. If it's not.
There's method in her madness, Austin. If she keeps us confused, we'll keep coming back for less.
Over it. Let's go back and forth.
No,
back
no,
and
no,
forth.
no, you got it wrong. Lael's got part shares and desserts, and we keep having to buy more and more paint.
Yeah.
Guys, you're recording, eh?
Yeah, that's all right. It's only us. No one's gonna see this.
I'll bet it ends up on the internet for the whole planet to see.
That's it. Let's work on this. All right, I'm gonna stop recording for now. All right, so I have now a medium size, kind of a smaller brush, bright. Let's see if I need different size or a different brush. But for now, I think I'm okay. Now I know in the picture, in the reference, these two right here, they look perfect, like they look clean and everything, but I don't think they are. So I don't think they are that clean. So I'm just gonna, titanium buff with a bit of burnt umber. Do this one here. And it's like a glaze now. It's like my paint is not heavy. Let's see, that's too white, so it's not showing. Let's take a bit of ultramarine violet. Yeah, that's good.
Are you making highlights?
No, I'm actually, I have a bit of, I have a glaze of burnt umber. I picked up ultramarine violet and titanium buff. And I'm just going here. And it's very soft because it's a glaze. My paint is not heavy. You don't have to put too much in here, but enough. Here, let's take, again, some titanium buff. That's better. It looks, at least it looks kind of real. Okay. This is alizarin crimson. We can use it just the way it is because we're going to highlight with cadmium red light. So we'll just put a bit of where you see white in the reference, we'll do it. We're going to do red because there's a lot of green. That's why I'm putting red, and red is opposite green on the color wheel. So it's a good color to put there. Okay, so, all right, I think it starts from here somewhere. It's good that we're using alizarin because you don't want to put cadmium red light everywhere on this. Cadmium red light will be in certain areas only where there's a highlight. And alizarin crimson is transparent, so it doesn't take over. But it's a good base color for any red.
Alizarin that you're using,
Yeah, alizarin crimson.
it's very transparent, right?
Yeah, but because we're working over red, we primed the canvas in red, so it's good. It's perfect. Now this was burnt sienna and either cadmium, ultramarine violet or burnt umber. Right now, what I'm going to do is take cadmium red light. Usually I try to use, instead of cadmium red light, when I want to highlight my burnt sienna, I try to use cadmium orange, but cadmium red light will work with burnt sienna. That's a good color. Excellent. Again, right here. It's a beautiful color. This painting needs red, and it doesn't have to be red. It could be burnt sienna. Burnt sienna has red in it. It's a earthy red. It's a beautiful, and adding cadmium red light to it makes it even nicer looking. Right, so now, same brush I'm using. I didn't wash it. I'm putting ultramarine violet, and I'm gonna come here and darken where I'm going to put eventually green right here. Okay, same with this pot. Just going to put some darken my color a bit here because I'm going to be putting a nice, beautiful green over this. So it's going to be casting a shadow over the pot. Let's see. Cadmium red light. Let's just play around with this a bit. I think I need to go a bit dark, maybe add black to my red first, because I can't see the cadmium red light now. But if I start with a very dark base, oh, actually it's working now. I'm adding titanium buff to my cadmium red light, so I can see the highlights, because I can't see them using just cadmium red light. Right.
Excuse me.
So I go from highlighting to adjusting my darks, from dark to highlight. I go back and forth between highlight and dark. I wait for it to dry and see if it needs to be adjusted. Sometimes if you put a couple of layers of paint, the painting looks richer, much more interesting than the first layer. Yeah, the more layers you put, the nicer it looks. It will look really nice with black. We'll put black on the wheels and maybe seat. Black will anchor it.